Welcome to our first webinar in the online retailing series, E-commerce 101. We will get started in just a few minutes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first webinar in the online retailing series, E-commerce 101. Thanks for joining us today. I am Lorna Johnson, one of the business advisors with Viatech's Digital Economy, Rapid Response, and Resiliency Program, or DER3. I will start by acknowledging that the southern tip of Vancouver Island, where I currently reside, is the traditional territory of the Lekwungen people. We acknowledge with respect these people, also known as the Shawnees and Esquimalt First Nations, whose relationship with the land continues to this day. We are all grateful to live, work, and play on this unceded territory, and we acknowledge the rich resources and cultural heritage of this incredibly beautiful land. Now, on to some housekeeping for this event. As this is a webinar, all attendees are muted and unseen. We are recording the session, which will be made available on the Viatech website. Feel free to use the chat box at the bottom of your screen to engage with the group throughout the event. Please make sure that any note goes to all panelists and attendees and not just to panelists. You will see a drop-down box to pick from. For specific questions for us, please use these only in the Q&A box and not in the chat box. Now for the workshop. Today, my colleague, Adam Dorval, and I are presenting the first of our online retailing series of webinars, E-commerce 101. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific time, Adam and I will present the webinar on online retailing marketing strategies. And on Thursday of this week at 8 a.m. Pacific time, our colleague, Brandon Ellis, will present the online retailing webinar on digital security. All of these workshops are scheduled for 45 minutes, including Q&A, and will be recorded. These workshops are being offered through the Digital Economy, Rapid Response, and Resiliency Program, Viatech's DER3. DER3 was created to help Greater Victoria businesses explore and implement business tools and models to help you, businesses, adapt to the business's challenges of a global pandemic. For more information on this program, please contact or please go to the website viatech.ca. And Adam's already waved, but I'll introduce my co-presenter for today, Adam Dorval, and we will be tag teaming throughout this presentation. So a quick reminder that the information presented in this webinar is for your professional use, and that any decisions or actions that you make or take as a result of this information is your responsibility. So today, we are going to cover the topics of taking an omni-channel approach to your e-commerce business, the key elements, considerations, and steps to building an e-commerce business, where you can go for more information and for some advice, and we'll finish with a question and answer section. Note that you can type your questions in the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen throughout this webinar. And again, please use the Q&A box, not the chat box, for your questions. So, omni-channel. We recommend that you take an omni-channel view of your e-commerce business. This is different from multi-channel, a term you are likely familiar with, and which you no doubt have experienced yourself as a customer. Multi-channel customer experiences provide multiple ways for businesses to interact directly with customers. Each channel, whether marketing channels like email or social media, or sales channels like a website or your brick-and-mortar store, each channel operates separately from each other, often with different people or teams designing and delivering the marketing, products, services, and customer experience, often without even talking to each other. On the other hand, the omni-channel experience focuses on providing seamless customer experience, whether the client is shopping online from a mobile device or a laptop, or in your brick-and-mortar store. An omni-channel approach focuses on the entire customer experience, not on the customer's individual experience in different channels. Why do we recommend taking an omni-channel view instead of just a multi-channel approach for your e-commerce business? First of all, according to the Harvard Business Review, 73% of all customers use several different channels during the purchase journey. Only when the customer has gathered as much information as possible from a variety of sources to support their purchase decision will they decide to buy from a retailer. So it is extremely important that the information that is presented, the products they see, and the experience itself is consistent across all channels, offering truly an omni-channel customer experience. In addition, according to new data from IBM's US Retail Index, the pandemic has actually accelerated the shift away from physical stores to digital shopping by roughly 5 years. You may have actually made the shift yourself.
And you may be thinking, but why do I need to look at my e-commerce business from an omni-channel perspective? Well, I want to explore a hypothetical customer experience. Let's say a customer goes into your pop-up shop or bricks and mortar store to purchase a product from you, and they take that product home with them. If they liked the product, sometime later, they may search for your website to see what other products you carry. On your website, perhaps they see a link to your Facebook page and decide to follow you on social media. After seeing a post on Facebook about a new product, they might click through to your website again to check out that new product. And let's say they decide to email you to ask a question about it. Well, perhaps after a satisfactory email response, the customer decides to purchase the product from your website and have it shipped directly to them. So then days later, the product is delivered to them and they open the parcel and experience the product packaging. And then after using that new product, they may go back to your website to leave a review. In this hypothetical customer journey, the customer first engaged with your brand through your physical store. Then they engaged with the first product that they bought. After that, they did a Google search, they found your website, and they followed you on social media. After further engagement with your social media page, they once again visited your website, then emailed your customer service. They got that good emailed response and went back to your e-commerce website and purchased a second product. The product then arrived by courier and they engaged with that product's packaging and branding when they unboxed it. And they used that new product itself. And finally, they went back to your website again to leave a product review. And now the key thing here is that this hypothetical customer in this journey didn't think about or even notice that they interacted with 8 of your channels. Your in-store, your product packaging, the product itself, search, your website, social media, email customer service, and even the product delivery itself. At the end of the day, customers just don't differentiate individual channels or the number of touch points on each, not the way that businesses do. So why should you be thinking about your customer experience from an omni-channel perspective? Well, because your customers are having one experience with you, not separate experiences with your channel. Understanding this is the easy part. It's absolutely critical, but actually implementing this philosophy does require deliberate effort. But don't get intimidated. We do have a process to help guide you through it. And it all starts at the top, your brand. Your brand is not your company name and your logo. It's actually much more than that. To put it succinctly, it's the way your organization is perceived by those that experience it. So identify your reason for being, who your customers are, how you market to them, and what your existing customer experience is. Next, figure out what operational pieces you need in place to support your brand and your omnichannel experience. And I'm not talking about tools and software just yet. I'm talking about policies, processes, and procedures. Things like, how are you handling customer service issues? Do you have a no questions asked return policy? Does the person managing your social media need to be able to look up an order status? Then you can determine what technology you need in place to power everything. Do you need cloud-based order management systems so that your staff can access order information from anywhere? Do you need a CRM to facilitate not only marketing, but also your customer service? Should your website be directly integrated with your in-store point of sale system? If you work through this top-down, step-by-step process, you'll find as you figure each step out, the next one becomes a lot clearer. So once you have your omnichannel approach well in hand, then you can dive into actually building your e-commerce business specifically. And I want to take a moment to call out that e-commerce is not just a shopping cart any more than a bricks and mortar retail is just a cash register. In a physical store, you would invest in interior design, merchandising, staffing, inventory management, risk management and building security, your window displays, promotional signage, and a lot more. And successful e-commerce retailers treat their online stores with the same, if not greater, care and investment that they give to the physical stores themselves. And in fact, most retailers actually find their e-commerce sales quickly dwarf their physical store. But just like with the omni-channel approach that we talked about, you need to approach building your e-commerce business from the perspective of your customer experience. So start by actually designing that experience. If you already have a strong customer experience in your brick and mortar store, then you can map that experience to the online world. Also ask yourself how your in-store and online experience complement each other. If your retail model is centered around the personal shopping experience, how can you bring that to the online store? Is your store more of an experiential showroom? How might that fit in an online experience? Do your customers shop in your stores by price, size, product category? Do they browse your assortment, or are they just hunting down a specific product? Understanding how your customers shop is going to have a massive influence on your website. So, for example, if your customers don't do a lot of browsing in your physical store, then don't force them to do it online. Put your on-site search front and center instead of assuming customers want to click through product categories. This would also mean you can refocus your efforts, spending less time categorizing your online product catalog and more time making sure your product content and on-site search data is optimized for customers searching for products, not browsing for them. You should also think about the different experiences between a happy customer and an unhappy customer. Don't just assume that every interaction with your customers will be a positive one. You need to plan for how to turn around a poor experience. And you should know that if you are able to turn around a poor experience for a customer, typically that customer becomes a more loyal customer than one who just had a normal positive experience and moved on. So once you've designed your customer experience, then you can start thinking about how you implement it.
A successful implementation of an e-commerce store requires attention to the key elements of project management and the many, many details it will take to deliver your brand promise, your marketing strategies, your customer experience, policies, processes, procedures, and technology platforms. Just as with any construction project, the mantra of measure twice, cut once applies here. In the online world, this means plan the details, start small, and test continuously. I can't emphasize too much the importance of having a written scope for your e-commerce implementation. The project scope outlines the entire e-commerce project, including all deliverables and website features, software and hardware, outsourcing partnerships, including your payment providers, processes, policies, procedures that have to be developed, communications and training for all your stakeholders, including staff, customers, suppliers, and other partners that will be affected. It also includes all major project objectives and goals and how you will measure success. And very importantly, don't forget to write down what is out of scope, what you are not going to do as part of your e-commerce project. The scope drives the resources you'll need to deliver your project, your timeline, and your budget. So it is key and an important step. Secondly, plan a phased project, not a big bang. Plan your first release based on identifying what we call minimal viable product. That is the smallest thing you can build that delivers customer value. This may mean delivering your e-commerce store with a very small number of product lines that you know that your customers want and will purchase online. Then plan subsequent releases over time, testing the customer experience, the policies, the processes, the procedures, and the technology each time, and improving with every subsequent release. This approach helps you find errors and fix things along the way, keep up with competitors as they improve their offerings, and it prevents big technology surprises, which you certainly don't want. Thirdly, get your back end in order. Don't forget to design and implement the changes you need in the non-customer facing back of house operations, including accounting and finance, supply chain, inventory management, and data management. Lastly, but certainly not least, maintain project oversight, regular reviews, issues and risk management. This will ensure timelines and deliverables are met, and you deliver your full scope on time and on budget. And so why is scoping and knowing detailed business requirements, and why is starting small and testing important? Well, let's look at an example of a multi-store retailer. In this example, the retailer underestimated the product content that was needed for the website. They discovered when they actually loaded the product content on the website that the products lacked the content and attribute data that was required for customers' on-site searches. The customers became quickly frustrated when the wrong products came up when they were searching. This completely undermined the customer experience and turned them off the new e-commerce business for this retailer. This also meant that the problem had to be fixed and the project went over budget. So how could this have been improved for the retailer? First of all, clear articulation of business requirements would have meant more attention to detail on the build. Understanding the data needs as a result of the design customer experience would have prevented the data glitch in the online search, and starting small and testing the customer experience meant that any errors would have been picked up quickly and fixed before the launch. And so a successful e-commerce operations strategy and design must include robust technology, processes, and the resourcing that meet the volume and the performance standards that you're setting for your e-commerce business. And so they must support, first of all, your product, your online merchandising. This includes product assortment and product planning for seasonality, new products and sale items, product images, descriptions, attributes, and categorization, product suggestions, and of course, search keywords. And it must support all aspects of the omni-channel customer service and support for your e-commerce business. That is chat, email, phone, and even in-person support. And it must support all aspects of fulfillment, including your order management, your back order policies and processes, buy online, pick up in store processes, courier pickups. It must also include efficient domestic and, if applicable for you, global shipping, and sufficient, efficient, and accurate inventory and inventory management. So your customers are happy and it fuels your business growth.
You also need to be prepared to measure and analyze your business performance on an ongoing basis. There's a lot of data in the online world that can give you tangible, in-depth insights into what you're doing well and what you can improve on. And because you've taken a phased approach to implementing your online business, you can actually leverage those insights to make changes as you go and grow your business. You should plan for the ongoing effort it takes to learn and adapt your online business, because you don't want to be handcuffed if a problem or opportunity is staring you in the face. The pandemic has fundamentally changed customer behavior and massively accelerated online shopping. But e-commerce is not just about adding a shopping cart to your website. It's a large piece of a unified customer experience that covers customer service, order fulfillment, inventory management, content development, and your online marketing, which we'll be talking about in more detail tomorrow. E-commerce represents a truly massive opportunity for retailers, even more so today. Online retail is able to scale much faster than bricks and mortar retail. It can reach new geographies and acquire new customers. And as we know, customers are migrating to online shopping faster than ever before. But e-commerce comes with its own unique set of challenges and requirements. So start by taking an omni-channel view of your entire customer experience. Then actively design and plan what your online experience should be. Scope out the business requirements of that experience and plan for a multi-phased implementation. That means planning for a minimum viable experience and then building on it in later phases. Get your back end in order so that poor data does not become a roadblock, or worse, undermine the entire customer experience. Build and deploy the first phase of your e-commerce business and measure its performance so that you can learn and adapt in future phases. Check out Viatech's website, newly launched today, by the way, for more information on upcoming events and workshops. Tomorrow, Lorna and I are going to be diving into marketing strategies in the second part of our three-part online retailing series, including how to build an effective marketing strategy for your e-commerce business. In part 3 on Thursday, our colleague Brandon Ellis will take us through best practices for dealing with online threats and data security. And of course, visit the DER3 page on viatech.ca for more information on the Digital Economy Rapid Response and Resiliency Program, and to sign up to work with us for free. The DER3 program is no cost, no obligation, and we work confidentially with business owners in the Greater Victoria area on their unique set of needs and circumstances.
Thank you, Adam. We do have some time now to answer some questions that people have submitted. And so first of all, Adam, what if I already have an online store? How best to implement improvements?
Yeah, I think this approach still works if you already are in market. It might require you to take a step back and think about the role that your online store is playing now in your omni-channel experience, and then identify the gaps that it may have, right? Maybe in the example I used earlier with the search being in the forefront for customers that are trying to find products, if that's your customer and your website isn't already set up that way, then that might be a gap in your customer experience. So the process still works, but you're basically starting already in phase 1, and now you're thinking about the later phases of improvements.
Oh, here's another question. If I have my own online store with my own branding, do I also need to put my products on Amazon or other third-party sellers?
Yeah. We get that question quite a bit. It The short answer is it depends. Amazon is a great channel for sales, but you have to consider what the role of your third party is going to be if you have your own e-commerce business. Because if you're investing in marketing and the customer experience, you don't want to have them going to separate places that you don't have a good control over the experience. So Amazon might be a great passive channel for you to add your products. And if someone is on Amazon searching, maybe you pick up sales that way. But you can still, should in that case, still focus your marketing efforts and your experience on your own store. If you've got, if you're looking at Etsy, for example, that's a bit of a different animal. Etsy really requires you to be hands-on in managing the store and promoting it on Etsy. And so if you're building your own e-commerce business on your own owned properties, your own website, that's probably a distraction. And it's more confusing for the customer if they've got two endpoints that they're trying to go to online to buy. So it really depends on what that third party is, what their sweet spot is, and how that fits within your omni-channel customer experience.
Thank you. There's another one. I don't have a brick and mortar store, just an online store. What is the best way to manage returns?
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, the nice thing is we're in a world where e-commerce has reached a good level of maturity from a third party and a systems and processes perspective. So Canada Post, for example, has their own processes to fulfill or to facilitate returns. They can you can print out a return waybill automatically with most carriers in Canada that can be included in the package. And then you only pay for that as a business, you only pay the cost for that shipping when someone does need to return it. You can leverage your customer service to approve those returns using an RMA process or something like that. There's also some third-party platforms that manage multiple shippers, and they've got their own tools and processes to facilitate returns. So you don't have to have a physical place for someone to walk in with the product. There are multiple ways you can do it through carriers.
That's good. Here's another good one. I'm not very technically savvy. Do I need to hire someone to implement my online store? What are the options?
Yeah, if you're not, I mean, the platforms are really powerful nowadays, and they cover a lot of the details and a lot of the basics for your site. A lot of them do require customization, especially if your customer experience that you've designed has some unique needs in it. So typically you would engage a developer agency, a service provider to help you implement the online store. But it really, again, depends on your level of tech savvy and how you're going to market, especially with your minimum viable experience, because there is a fair amount of DIY platforms out there that can be reasonably easy to use if you're comfortable in there. But if you do need to hire someone, the DER3 program, we can help you connect with service providers through the program.
And here's the last question. Do I need an online store and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter?
Well, need is a funny word, but it's a complicated answer, and it highly depends on your customers, your brand, and your ability to invest. So we're going to talk a lot more about the marketing side of things, social media, search, display, affiliates, all that good stuff. We'll talk about that in more detail in tomorrow's session.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you, Adam, and thank you everyone for tuning in today. Don't forget, for more information, you can apply to the DER3 program through the Viatech website. and a reminder that you'll be able to access the recorded version of this webinar via the Viatech website. We hope to see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific time for our second webinar in our online retailing series, Marketing Strategies. Bye-bye.